third big feature is this. We've had this feature in games so far, in games like first-person shooters and RTS games. Imagining having a full co-opable RPG game. I can't think of many RPGs that are full co-opable. I love RPGs, but I've always played them on my own. And having full dynamic co-oping within an RPG is what I'm going to show off here. So Josh here, Josh works for MGS. He's a specialist. He's helping us refine and tune our combat mechanics, and he's going to come in as my co-op buddy. Now, when we decided and sat down and thought about co-oping, we really wanted to give you a different flavour of co-oping than you'd ever had before. So these are the things that went through our minds. Firstly, dynamic. The idea of being able to come into my world at any point in time, not having to go back to the front end screen or launch the game all over again. That instantaneous. Here's the controller, you're in. That's the first big feature. The second big feature of co-oping is that if you're coming into my world and you're playing Fable 2, you should carry on earning experience and gold in my world. Anything you earn in my world as a henchman, when you're co-oping, you can import back into your world. That means if you come into my world and you're level 10 in your world, you play in my world for 4 hours, you come back, you'll get 4 levels worth of experience when you come back. You can negotiate with your friends how much of that split to get. You can see on the screen at the moment, you've got gold, experience, renown. You can say, okay, I'll come into your world as a henchman. You keep all the gold, I'll keep all the experience. That is super, super different from any other co-op stuff that you've seen before. That's the second. And the third big thing I can't talk about in a moment. I love doing these things, as you know. But this is just couch stuff that we're talking about. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So here we are. Josh comes immediately into my world. He's here straight away. He is able to do everything that I can do. All of the combat stuff he can do the same. He is able to use all the expressions and the emotions, and we can emote together. We can do this in the middle of a town. We can chat up girls together. I can show him my world. And remember, my world is going to be very different to his world because it's each person's world is going to be very unique. So, the other thing you'll notice is that I am actually a woman. That's not for camera, that's not a confession. I chose to play a woman in Fable. This is another thing that we've decided in Fable 2 is to give you the choice at the start of the game to play as a man or a woman. Because I'm a woman, this has been a very strange experience for me. I can now appreciate more of the sort of female side of life because I've had to go up and chat up men and they've cast me aside. I've had to stand on the side waiting for someone to ask me to dance, and I haven't been. And eventually I found someone who took me out, and I asked them to marry me, and we got married, and we had unprotected sex, and we ended up with a son, and that meant I got pregnant. And it's been a cathartic experience for me. I can appreciate a bit more about being a woman because of playing this, but it does mean that I can now show my family to Josh, and so we're going to go back and meet my husband. I could, by the way, stop off at this shop and buy my husband a present, but I'm going to save all the money because I know that my husband needs that money. I am responsible. I'm the breadwinner of this family. If I don't bring whole gold home often and frequently, my family will starve. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, Fable is all about freedom, and one of the freedoms of this game is the ability to go back home, and if your family is starving, to whip out an apple pie or a piece of meat or whatever and consume it all in front of your starving family, with them pleading for food. Now that may be something that revolts you, hopefully it is, or it may be something that you'd like to do. That freedom is completely up to you. Anyway, let's go and see it. The other thing that I'll just point out to you, you'll notice there's very, very few icons on screen. We've really redesigned the interface completely from the ground up. We want to give you complete freedom of choice. If you don't want to pay attention to something, just ignore it. So at the moment, the game is telling me there is something interesting to look at, that little look at trigger. If I press this trigger now, I will now go and see what that's looking at. You could also see the dog growling and pointing out that something out. So we're very, very pleased where that interface is going. So